Jessica stood at the front door and the group turned their attention toward her. Zebby, Noor, Mahi, and Farah exchanged curious glances, not expecting Jessica's unexpected visit. And the main fact was, Jessica wasn't a familiar face among their close-knit group. Jessica inquired, "Can I come in?" Everyone looked at each other again, a silent agreement passing between them that they didn't have much of a connection with Jessica. They were silently questioning how Jessica, a classmate with whom they didn't share a close bond, ended up at their doorstep. "Sure," Mahi added, gesturing for Jessica to come in. After all, it wasn't their style to turn someone away. Once inside, Jessica looked around at the somewhat chaotic scene of cleaning. She raised an eyebrow. "Am I interrupting something?" Farah, still holding the mop, shook her head. "No, just our weekly cleaning." "So what brings you here?" She gestured Jessica to sit on the stool and Jessica accepted the offer. Maintaining an air of confidence, Jessica explained, "Well, my room owner dropped a bombshell and asked me to vacate the place. Apparently, they're moving to another city, and I need to find a new place quickly." "That's quite sudden. Do you have a place to stay?" Mahi asked. Jessica told, "Not yet, that's why I'm here. Can I crash with you guys for a few days until I figure something out?" "Less than greater than 01. The quartet exchanged hesitant glances, clearly unsure about inviting someone they didn't know well into their living space. But the idea of turning away someone in need didn't sit well with them. Zebby voiced their collective uncertainty. "I mean, it's a bit unexpected. Are you sure you'll find a place in a few days? It's not easy to secure housing in Kuala Lumpur on short notice." With a confident demeanor, Jessica tossed her curly hair back and responded, "Trust me, I've got this. I don't plan on being a burden. Just need a temporary spot until I figure things out." Noor chimed in, "Are you sure about this? We don't want any awkward roommate situations." Jessica smirked. "Don't worry. I'm low maintenance. You won't even know I'm here." With a collective nod and a sense of cautious acceptance, the group agreed to let Jessica stay for a few days. Zebby, Noor, Mahi, and Farah exchanged glances, silently contemplating the unexpected turn of events. Zebby spoke up, "All right, Jessica. You can stay for a bit. But, you know, it's a student apartment, not a luxury hotel." Jessica chuckled. "Don't worry, I'm not expecting room service. I just need a place to crash temporarily." "So, when are you planning to move in?" Farah asked. Jessica tilted her head and replied, "I'll bring my stuff tomorrow. Hope that works for you all." Noor nodded, "Sure, tomorrow it is. We'll make some space for you." Ava meticulously went through each shopping bag, unfolding the clothes with a mixture of surprise and disbelief. She couldn't fathom how Ibrahim managed to find the exact replicas of her previous clothes, from the color to the size. Her bed was now adorned with bags filled with these new clothes. Ava couldn't help but express her amazement. Ibrahim really did it. How on earth did he find the exact same pieces? It's like a magic trick. In the midst of her thoughts, Yasmin, the maid, entered the room, visibly flustered. Ava noticed her heavy breathing and questioned, "Yasmin, why are you breathing so fast?" "Oh, Mr. Rahman ordered me to organize the closet, but I got caught up with other tasks and forgot about it," Yasmin explained somehow. "You know what, Yasmin? I can handle this alone. You can do other works," Ava offered. Yasmin replied, "But if I don't complete my tasks, Mr. Rahman might dismiss me from work." Shaking her head in resignation, Ava relented. "Fine, go ahead. Organize the closet." When Yasmin started arranging the newly acquired clothes in Ava's closet, Ava went towards the study room. Entering Ibrahim's study, Ava found him, engrossed in a book, sitting on a chair with various books scattered on the desk. He wore a light brown full-sleeved t-shirt paired with black pants, his focused demeanor catching Ava's attention. Moving closer, Ava noticed the book Ibrahim was reading, and it was one from her syllabus. She questioned him, "Are you reading my book?" Upon seeing Ava, Ibrahim motioned to the chair beside him, inviting her to join. And Ava settled into the chair. Ibrahim replied, "Yes, I promised to help you complete your syllabus before our weekend getaways. So, I need to read too." Ava nodded in understanding and then shifted the conversation. "How did you find all my clothes?" They were exactly the same, and street markets usually follow current trends. They don't keep stock of previous items. Wearing a mysterious smile, Ibrahim responded with a nonchalant, He playfully remarked, "You asked for it, and I brought it. If I start explaining how I manage, we'll need to climb mountains of details, and it might hurt my ego. A man should maintain some mystery, shouldn't he?" Ava furrowed her brows. "Tell me," she insisted. Shaking his head with a smirk, Ibrahim decided to keep the mystery alive. "Let it be a mystery. Today, let's start a new chapter." Ava didn't ask further. "Which topic are we diving into today?" SHR asked. "So today, we're delving into the Haydar Aliyev Center in Baku," Ibrahim responded. "Oh, The lesson unfolded. Ibrahim provided detailed insights into the design principles, structural innovations, and the architect's vision behind the Haydar Aliyev Center. He tried to make Ava understand everything in a simple way. As the 1-hour session concluded, Ibrahim closed the book and shut the laptop. Turning toward Ava, he declared, "Now, it's time for a quiz. Let's see how much you've absorbed." Ready to showcase her understanding, Ava said, "Sure, I'm ready." He intentionally moved Ava's chair slightly closer to his own, a movement that caused their shoulders to gently brush against each other. He initiated, "Tell me about the unique structural elements employed in the Haidar Aliyev Center." Ava pondered the question. She looked upward, attempting to recall, and responded, the fluid forms, right." Ibrahim prompted further, "Yes, but can you elaborate on how those forms challenge traditional architectural norms?" "Well, they kind of break away from straight lines and stuff." Ava struggled a bit. Ibrahim simply placed his right hand on her left thigh as he continued, "Good effort, baby girl. Now, what about the material used in its construction?" Feeling the unexpected touch on her thigh, Ava looked down in surprise and asked, "What is this?" Ava looked at him with her furrowed brows. Ibrahim shook his head. "I want answers of my questions, baby girl. Don't let distractions break your concentration." Inside Ibrahim's mind, a myriad of thoughts and intentions swirled, creating an enigma that even the closest observer would find challenging to unravel. Caught between the challenge of answering Ibrahim's questions and the distracting sensation of his touch, Ava hesitated for a moment before answer. Her gaze momentarily escaping toward the desk as if seeking refuge from Ibrahim's gaze. In a nervous reflex, she tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, a subtle attempt to regain composure. However, the tranquility of the study room was disrupted by the gentle circles Ibrahim traced on her thigh. Despite the barrier of her jeans, the sensation of his fingertips against her skin sent a subtle shiver through her entire left leg. But Ava was determined to prove to herself that Ibrahim's touch held no sway over her, but the reality proved challenging, a battle between willpower and the undeniable effect of his caress. She summoned her courage and responded, "It's something innovative." Sensing her vulnerability, Ibrahim allowed a smile to grace his lips. He also wanted to see her reaction. The more, the better. "Innovative indeed, baby girl. But what is the main material?" He lightly pinched the flesh of her thigh. The sensation was neither painful nor unpleasant but rather ticklish, prompting Ava to place her hand over Ibrahim's in an attempt to move his hand away from her thighs. But Ibrahim was being Ibrahim. He skillfully resisted her attempts. Fiberglass," she hazarded. Her hand was guarding his hand not to do anything. "Very close. It's reinforced concrete," he disclosed, and his hand ventured higher on Ava's thigh. "Very close. It's reinforced concrete," Ibrahim disclosed, and his hand ventured higher on Ava's thigh. His each touch was sending a subtle wave of anticipation through the air. Feeling his hand edging toward a territory that made her uneasy, Ava pressed her own hand firmly over Ibrahim's. She was silently signaling a boundary not to be crossed. His hand came to a gentle halt, respecting the unspoken limit set by Ava. Her eyes met his, a mixture of uncertainty and a hint of frustration evident in her expression. She took a deep breath, preparing herself for what might come next. On the other hand, Ibrahim maintained an outward calmness, his gaze unwavering and seemingly innocent. He was looking at Ava as if he were the embodiment of innocence itself. Breaking the silence, Ava questioned, "What are you doing?" Ibrahim's reaction was a playful yet smooth smile. Leaning back in his chair, he withdrew his hand from Ava's thigh, his fingers lightly trailing down her leg before settling back on the armrest. The atmosphere shifted as he nonchalantly remarked, "Nothing, just testing your focus." Opening the book once again, Ibrahim resumed his role as the mentor, seemingly unperturbed by the effect of his actions. Ava, however, couldn't tear her gaze away from him. How he could remain so composed while she grappled with the aftermath of his touch. Internally, she grappled with the intensity of emotions stirred by his touch and marveled at his calm demeanor. There he was unaffected by the emotional whirlwind he had incited with a simple touch. Yet, she resisted raising her voice, unwilling to give him the satisfaction of knowing the impact he had on her. Less than greater than. Oh, 1. I didn't feel your touch at all, it didn't divert my attention, she asserted. Oh, 1. Without glancing at her, Ibrahim extended his hand, gently patting her head. Ava sighed and again told, "I know you're all tricks. You're confusing me again." She looked in the front towards the desk, and her brows furrowed. Ibrahim nodded, "I know, baby girl. I know that your focus is intact." She again looked at him, her eyes searching for answers, asked hesitantly, "Are you mocking me?" Ibrahim met her gaze, his expression softening. "Mocking you? How can I mock you?" he replied, a genuine perplexity in his tone. "You're the most valuable person to me, Ava. How could I mock someone I hold so dearly?" Ava murmured, "Then why is he doing this if I'm valuable to him?" She said to herself, but Ibrahim heard. He leaned back in his chair, taking a deep breath as he locked eyes with her. In that moment, his gaze held a depth of sincerity as he revealed a truth that cut through the layers of their complex relationship. "You're my weakness, Ava," Ibrahim confessed. "To me, you're the most desirable woman for me and the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. It's not just about your outer beauty, your heart it is beautiful too. And I, Ibrahim Rahman, want a place inside your heart for me." Ava blinked in response, the weight of Ibrahim's words settling in. When he expressed his desire for a place in her heart, an unexpected door seemed to open in her heart. Unbeknownst to Ava, a subtle transformation was underway. In the midst of captivity and coercion, a complex emotion began to blossom. She was falling for the man who was sitting in front of her. She didn't realize that she had started to fall for the man who had kidnapped her, who had forcefully married her. The Stockholm Syndrome, like an enchanting spell, worked its magic on her. She had started to fall for her husband, a man whose actions had initially instilled fear. Their eyes locked, a silent conversation unfolded, a tale only they could understand. Overwhelmed by the emotional turmoil, she looked away. She couldn't maintain eye contact, especially now, when her heart wrestled with a kaleidoscope of emotions. Love had entered the equation, but they had to go through a long path. Her feelings needed examination, a journey that would reveal if it was genuine love or a product of the circumstances that bound them together. The boundaries she had meticulously built seemed to crumble. Ibrahim observed Ava as she gulped, her breaths deep and deliberate. He cleared his throat, breaking the silence, and explained, "Earlier, I just wanted to make both your hearts beat at the same time." Ava's mood abruptly shifted, confusion etched across her face. "Both hearts?" she questioned, her expression revealing genuine bewilderment. "Doesn't everyone have only one heart?" Ibrahim relished in her confusion. He couldn't help but find amusement in her innocence. "Most people have only one heart, but—" He trailed off, leaving the statement hanging in the air. Ava's confusion deepened. She pressed for more information. "But what?" Ibrahim remained silent, enjoying her state of perplexity, a playful smirk playing on his lips. "But what, Ibrahim?" Ava insisted, a touch of urgency in her tone, wanting clarification on whether she possessed an unusual anatomy. She checked her left side, placing her hand over her heart, then moved to the right side. "Of course, there was no heartbeat on the right side. Do I have two hearts?" Ibrahim nodded, and her mouth fell open in disbelief. "How?" she asked, her voice filled with incredulity. She had checked her body multiple times, and no doctor had ever mentioned such a peculiar condition. Here Ava grappled with the anxiety of having two hearts. Ibrahim sat calmly, his gaze fixed on her. Glancing at his wristwatch, he declared, "I have to go to the office now." As Ibrahim rose from the chair, Ava looked up, a cascade of questions tumbling from her lips. "How can you leave me like this? Haven't we consulted a doctor about this? What if it's harmful to have two hearts? And where is the second heart?" With a reassuring smile, Ibrahim replied, "Don't take pressure, baby girl. Your second heart doesn't beat usually." Ava's brows furrowed in worry, and she stood up, moving to face him directly. "It doesn't beat? Then what does th second heart do?" "Oh, one." His smile softened as he explained, "Yes, the second heart beats occasionally and it won't harm you at all." Ava was looking visibly tensed. She grabbed Ibrahim's forearm, seeking reassurance. "It won't harm, really." Ibrahim looked into her eyes and assured her, "Don't think too much. It's just a rare condition. But don't tell anyone now." "What'll happen if I tell?" Ava asked, curiosity etched on her face. Cradling her face in both hands, Ibrahim softly responded, "Then they will be scared too, just like you are now." Ava nodded in understanding, and in a moment of unexpected tenderness, Ibrahim leaned in, placing a gentle kiss on her forehead. And Ava, momentarily puzzled by this softer side of him, questioned when he had become so tender. She quickly stepped back, isn't it getting late for you now? Ibrahim casually tucked his hands in his pockets and replied, It is getting late, but I don't want to go. I just want to sit and watch you all day. Stop flirting with me, Ava replied. Jessica sat on the plush bed in the hotel room, enveloped in the warm glow of lights that adorned the space. The television hummed softly, casting a gentle glow on her face as she waited for Professor Saeed. The room exuded an ambience of luxury, with its tasteful decor and muted colors creating a serene atmosphere. The curtains were drawn, allowing a glimpse of the city lights outside, shimmering like distant stars. The room, booked exclusively by him through the connection of his friend who owned the hotel, bore traces of familiarity. It had become their rendezvous point for their special private meetings, a place where the outside world faded away. Jessica, glancing at the clock on the wall, noted the passing time. Professor Saeed had instructed her to meet him here, yet an hour had elapsed, and he was yet to arrive. The soft ticking of the clock seemed to echo the seconds slipping away. Time passed, and the click of the door unlocking by a key drew Jessica's attention. She turned towards the entrance, and there stood Professor Saeed, finally arriving. I've been waiting for you since the evening, and now you decide to show up. Jessica greeted him with a mild irritation. Professor Saeed, wearing a rueful smile, explained, "Traffic jam, my dear. It's the bane of my existence." He came and settled beside Jessica on the bed. Jessica sighed. "Always the traffic. You need a helicopter or something." "I'll consider it for our next meeting." "How about that?" Professor Saeed replied, adjusting his glasses. Jessica switched off the TV remote and looked at Professor Saeed. "Well, make it up to me," she teased. "Less than greater than." "Oh, one." Professor Saeed moved closer. "And how do you suggest I do that?" "Oh, one." Jessica's lips curled into a smile. "Maybe with dinner, something you owe me for making me wait." Professor Saeed agreed. "Deal. I'll order the best dinner this hotel has to offer. So, how's Farah doing? What's she up to?" "She's the same, you know. Nothing out of the ordinary. Evenings are reserved for her boyfriend Alara. Then it's back to the apartment, hitting the books for exams." "The usual routine," Jessica continued. "Zeba, no." Professor Saeed interrupted her. "I'm only interested in Farah. Don't care much about the others." "Of course, only Farah matters. The rest of us are just background noise." Jessica played along. Professor Saeed reached into his bag and pulled out 2 hidden cameras and presented them to Jessica. Her eyes widened in surprise as she regarded the unexpected items. "What are these for?" Jessica asked with a hint of curiosity. "Attach them to Farah's attached bathroom. That's all you need to know," Professor Saeed replied. Holding the hidden cameras, Jessica voiced her reservations. "This feels wrong, Professor. Why do I have to do this? Leaning back with a self-assured smile, Professor Said responded, you don't need to know the details. Just consider it a favor to me. A little help, that's all. Jessica hesitated, her mind racing with questions. But if Farah or the others find out, they'll doubt me. I have a solution. No one will doubt you. Trust me, Professor Said replied with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. Jessica continued to examine the hidden cameras. Professor Said began, these are state-of-the-art, virtually invisible. No one will suspect a thing. But Jessica is still uncertain. She questioned, but why especially Farah's bathroom? What's the purpose? Professor Said, cryptic as ever, replied, you don't need to know. I handle the why, you handle the how. Is this the only reason you asked me to stay in Farah's apartment for a few days? Jessica inquired again. The less you know, the better, Professor Said's voice deepened. The kitchen was a warm haven, filled with the tantalizing scent of a home-cooked dinner. Yusuf, drained from a day immersed in his boss Rafi Ahmed's divorce case, tried to focus on preparing a meal for his energetic 3-year-old son, Aiden. Little did Yusuf know that his tired evening was about to be hijacked by the irresistible charm and relentless requests of his adorable son. When Yusuf stirred a pot on the stove, Aiden, a bundle of cuteness with messy hair and eyes that sparkled with mischief, tugged at his father's pants. "Daddy, Daddy," he chimed, his tiny fingers pleading for attention. Offering a tired smile, Yusuf turned to Aiden. "What's up, champ?" "I want Uncle Ibby's chocolates," Aiden declared with wide, innocent eyes. Yusuf chuckled, ruffling Aiden's hair. "We have chocolates at home, buddy. They're just as good." Aiden shook his head vigorously. "No, Daddy, Uncle Ibby's chocolates are the bestest in the whole wide world. Please, Daddy, please." Yusuf sighed, attempting to negotiate with his persistent little negotiator. "Aiden, Daddy is really tired today. Let's enjoy the chocolates we have, okay? We'll see Uncle Ibby another time." But Aiden, the embodiment of stubborn cuteness, wasn't having it. His lower lip protruded into a pout, and his eyes pleaded with all the innocence in the world. "But Daddy, I want Uncle Ibby's chocolates now. Please, pretty please." Yusuf couldn't help but chuckle at Aiden's antics. All right, after dinner, we'll call Uncle Ibby and ask him to bring chocolates for you." "Deal." Aiden's face lit up with sheer joy. "Yay, Daddy, that's good. I want chocolates from Uncle Ibby." As Yusuf resumed his cooking, Aiden continued to bounce around the kitchen, a ball of energy and excitement. "Daddy, can we call Uncle Ibby now? I want to tell him I want chocolates." Yusuf was juggling pots and pans. "Not yet, Aiden. Let's finish dinner first, then we'll call Uncle Ibby." "Oh, one." Aiden decided to try another tactic. "Daddy, I'm so hungry. Maybe Uncle Ibby's chocolates will make me not hungry anymore. Yusuf shook his head. Nice try, little negotiator. Let's focus on dinner, and then we'll talk to Uncle Ibby. In the study room, Ava carefully attached the frame to the painting she had recently finished. Once satisfied with her work, she decided to show Ibrahim. She went towards their bedroom and found him standing on the balcony, a cigarette dangling from his right hand. The aroma of smoke wafted through the air, and Ava hesitated at the entrance, unable to tolerate the smell. "Ibrahim," she called out, and he turned to face her. She turned the painting towards him. "The painting you had asked for earlier. It's completed." Ibrahim approached her and accepted the artwork with a smile in his face. The cigarette remained in his hand. Before he could comment on painting, Ava retreated to her bed. Ibrahim observed her movement. "Won't you ask for money?" Sitting on her bed, she replied, 5,000 ringgit. "You can give it later." Ibrahim, reaching for his phone on the dressing table, swiftly processed an online transaction to Ava's account. As he took a drag from the cigarette, he informed her, "I've sent the money." Ava hid under the blanket. She was feeling the discomfort of the cigarette's smell. Ibrahim asked, "Why is she sleeping so soon today?" Peeking out from under the blanket, Ava explained, "I'm not sleeping actually, the smell is getting unbearable for me." And Ibrahim realized his oversight. He momentarily forgot her aversion to the smell of cigarettes. He abruptly threw the cigarette towards the balcony. The lit end glowed briefly in the night before disappearing over the edge. He threw the cigarette outside without leaving his gaze with Ava. 01. Ava watched as the cigarette sailed outside. "I didn't ask you to throw it, you know. You can smoke outside." Holding the painting, Ibrahim approached the wall where a hook awaited its new adornment. He placed the painting on the wall. "Sorry, baby girl. It's my fault. I totally forgot that you can't bear the smell." Ava, who had transitioned from lying to sitting on the bed, couldn't help but be curious. "From when did you start smoking?" Taking a seat on his single bed, Ibrahim contemplated for a moment before responding, "I started when I was 25. Can't you quit? It's harmful, you know." She proved further. "I didn't start smoking with the intention of quitting one day. It helps me," Ibrahim replied. Ava, her brows furrowing, persisted, "But it's not good for your health." "Health isn't my top priority, Ava. Smoking, in a way, has its uses. Helps me to focus, helps me to think. In my line of work, you need something to clear your mind." Ibrahim presented a unique way of expression. "There are better ways to clear your mind, Ibrahim. You can't let a habit control you," Ava insisted. Ibrahim countered, "In my world, priorities are different. Survival comes first, Ava. Not everything is black and white. Sometimes, habits become a part of who you are." Ava, not satisfied with the response, Question: can't you leave smoking if I ask you to? 01.